Welcome to another edition of the Recruiting Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson, and man, I have yet more good news for Red Raider fans out there as Texas Tech picked up yet another commitment in football this time. And what a run it's been for the Red Raiders. Really, since the beginning of April, in the last month, Texas Tech has picked up 8 commits, if you count the 2 grad transfers. The latest one is Solomon Wright, a defensive tackle. So your third defensive lineman commit the Red Raiders have picked up in the last, week and a half. So it's been just an amazing run. And Solomon Wright, the first defensive tackle, he's the first out-of-state commitment on this recruiting cycle. There's several things that stand out about Solomon Wright. First off, his production. 91 tackles, 31 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and the ever-elusive pick 6 from a defensive tackle. That's all just last season as a junior for Vian, Oklahoma. Look, bottom line is anytime Texas Tech can get a defensive tackle who has offers from Oklahoma State, and oh, by the way, Solomon Wright is a legacy. He's an Oklahoma State legacy. His father, Kenyatta Wright, was an all Big 12 linebacker for the Cowboys, who went on to play in the NFL for a handful of years. So, not only do you take a guy from Oklahoma against one of your fiercest rivals, in conference in the Big 12, but he was a legacy. So that's normally stuff Oklahoma State does to Tech, not the way this played out. So, huge pickup. Another thing that stands out about Wright's commitment is, Tech's been on this amazing run. His commitment bumps Tech's recruiting class from 27th in the country and 5th in the Big 12 up to 22nd yet again in the country and 3rd in the Big 12, which is where they were after they got the previous 2 defensive line commits, Amarian Banks and Charles Esters. 2 huge pickups at defensive end. So now that's 3 defensive lineman commits for this class. That's in recent years, that's like 2 recruiting classes right there to get that, and they're not done yet. They want to add to that. You have on the other side of the ball a couple of 4-star commits. In quarterback Baron Morton, Jerram Bradley, a 6'6" receiver, a couple of 6'6", 6'7" receivers, and Jed Castles and Mason Tharp, and then last and certainly not least, Jack Tucker, offensive tackle out of Argyle, that the Red Raiders have made a priority since the beginning of this recruiting cycle, since they started really hitting it hard. This recruiting class is really just starting to round out to be one of the better ones, and you're doing things that you haven't done in such a long time. Really, and we're talking about over a decade, in terms of just being your Big 12 rivals out for top recruits, guys on top of your board. In the last handful of years, you've really had to work down your board and go searching and really work and to dig out those recruits, and that's just not the case with this class. This class, Tech has targeted some highly rated guys that other Power 5 schools want, and they're closing on them. So, I go back to their strategy, their organization, and a couple of the visits that they are able to hold, big visitor weekends. And Wright's a perfect example, right? And Tucker and the 2 tight end commits, Castles and Tharp, and even Morton, Bradley, they all visited. But Wright was there at the start of spring ball with Morton and the tight ends and Tucker. So he visited and picked up his offer in early March. Evidently really loved his visit. I was able to see the beginning of spring ball before everything got shut down. It was, during that big recruiting weekend, which we confirmed over 40 recruits. It was pushing like 50, and that's just who we confirmed. So we know there's more than that. But they also got to go see Tech basketball take on Kansas in the huge Big 12 showdown. So, those visitor weekends are working. They had a big junior day in February, which I believe Bradley was a part of that. So one of the reasons they landed him. And then this one in March, which wasn't officially a junior day, but it was a big recruiting weekend. It's just lending just amazing dividends. And this coaching staff can obviously close. So Paul Randolph now, defensive line coach. That's 3 defensive line commits. Coach, defensive coordinator Keith Patterson, and of course Matt Wells are all helping close these guys. But I got to tip the cap to Paul Randolph, man. 3 defensive line commits, just huge, and just more great news on the recruiting trail for Texas Tech. So I can't wait to see who's next, because they keep stacking these great commitments, these great recruits, and it's going to turn out to be one of the best recruiting classes in some time. So with that, I want to say thank you for watching, and until next time.